Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Semi-Pro. Today we have an extra special episode for you guys. The guys don't know this because they can't hear me. We're going to do something very, very fun in just a few minutes on this episode of Semi-Pro. All right, boys, here we are. As far as you know, we're about to watch the movie Marmaduke, and we're all super excited about it. But I've got
something like that.
I've got some bad news to break to you guys. We will not be watching the film Marmaduke.
Oh, we're not?
Bobbin sounds so genuine. Bobbin sounds like you got punched.
No.
What?
No.
You guys knew, didn't you? Did Josh spill the beans on this?
I didn't say anything. Wait, what? Are we not watching?
We will not be watching the film Marmaduke. Instead, today is the very first episode of a new Semi-Pro sub-series known as Insane Theater, where we will be watching one of 10 randomly picked old VHS archived tapes that we found on the internet. I will be reading the 10 films to you, and then...
Man, I picked a good time to start drinking.
I'm so excited.
I hate this. I would have rather watched Marmaduke.
I wish I could agree, but I'll take whatever horrible, awful VHS things we have to watch over Marmaduke.
I didn't want to watch Marmaduke in the first place.
So I'm going to be reading all of the titles 1 through 10, and then I'm going to ask my phone to pick a number 1 through 10, and then that will be the movie that we watch. We'll pause for just a moment, and then we'll come back after having watched it, and we will give our breakdown of said thing. Number 1 on this list, The Tabernacle, God's Dwelling Place with Pastor Benny Hinn. This was clearly my pick. Pastor Benny Hinn ran a scam for a while where he went around pretending to heal people in these healing crusades. So I'm very excited for that one. Number 2, Home Haircutting with Wall, how-to video. I remember this one being weirdly long. This was Daniel's pick. So if we land on that, we blame Daniel. The one I think I'm most excited for, Maya's Time Travelers, M-A-Y-A-S, Time Travelers. That one we know nothing about. I've tried Googling it, can find no information.
As far as we know, it doesn't actually exist.
Number 4 on this list is Wham! America's Kids Network, Caught in the Middle, number 1 and number 3.
This I'm going to say was Josh's pick.
I think it was, but I don't remember. Number 5, Greentoons, Environmentally Aware Animation. Whatever that one's about.
And question, how come I didn't have a pick?
You weren't here.
Because we hate you.
Number 6, Count Chocula's Theater for the Insane Show, number 7, which is what we've named this series after, so we may land on it, who knows. Number 7, Eyewitness Reptile, which I'm borderline positive is just a documentary about lizards.
I say we name it on whatever our first pick is.
I think that would only really work with one of them.
Exactly.
I also think
sure.
I also think it would only really work if we hadn't already named the show.
No, we haven't.
It's one show.
I only just found out that you named it when you said the name of it.
The graphic is also
named the show yet.
the
There's
graphics
no
on the
shows to
screen.
be named.
The show doesn't exist.
The title.
Well, I can't see the graphics, so it's not on my screen, which means it doesn't have a name yet.
Number 8, Scream Greats Volume 2, Satanism and Witchcraft. Number 9, Really Wild Animals, Secret Weapons and Great Escapes. And number 10, Techniques for Psychics. Is everybody ready for the moment of truth?
No.
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 Pick a number 1 through 10.
I'm going to drink myself
3.
to death.
It doesn't say it out loud like I thought it would, but the number is 5. So we are watching Greentoons, Environmentally Aware Animation. Who is excited?
Whose pick was this again?
This was mine. This was my pick. All right, we're going to pause. Those of you listening, by the time you hear our sweet, sweet voices again, we will have watched...
we would have been broken.
We will have watched Greentoons Environmentally Aware Animation. Okay. that was that. We just watched Greentoons environmentally aware animation.
And Maya's Travel Through Time.
We will, yeah, we'll get there.
We watched about 5 minutes of that.
Watch that.
We skipped
watched
through
about
about
5
5
minutes
minutes
and
of
then
Maya's
got
Time Travelers because we were
And
curious.
then we realized it was just an ad. A fucking scam.
So it's like
Oh.
everything's worse now. So
Man, this
Greentoons environmentally aware animation. Just I pulled up some stuff about it. That way I could read it. It's gone now. I can't find where that was.
It didn't exist. I think we just like had a mass.
I think right.
I think we had a group hallucination. If I'm being completely honest.
yeah.
I'm not entirely sure we actually watched this. Like I don't think I would love for someone if we actually had listeners, I would love for one of our listeners to look up this website and confirm if it actually exists
Right,
or
'cause-
if we're just completely schizo.
As it stands, I feel like if someone walked into my room right now and told me you've just been staring at your screen for the last like hour and a half for no reason, is everything okay? I wouldn't even bat an eye. I just go, yeah, you know.
I was like, yeah, my bad, man. I got
So
my
I
bad.
just the schizo creeped in on me for a minute. I'm all right now.
So Greentoons environmentally aware animation is a 45-minute videotape consisting of 14 short animations produced by adults as well as children. Many of the animators have won awards and have been featured on television and at festivals around the country. Included are such works as Only the Cat Saw It, which won first prize at the 1992 U.S. Environmental
That's the
Film
one that
Festival.
won first prize.
That's what
I
I'm saying.
refuse.
Really?
I refuse to believe anything from this has ever won awards.
Do You Care About Earth, made by children and winner of the CINE Eagle Award, and How the Loon, winner of the 1992 Chicago International Children's
That
Film
won
Festival.
something?
Yeah, why are these the ones that are winning?
Yeah,
The video is
right. 'cause
full of-
There were like 2 or 3 good ones, and those aren't the ones that won anything.
The video is full of observations and ideas about our environment, as well as celebration of it. A variety of its animation techniques are used, such as
It's full of something,
claymation,
all right.
movable objects, drawing, cels, and computers. It's interesting to note that several of the animators are done for what?
Yes, yeah, they're telling me they're
God.
done for.
Several
You're
of
telling
the
What a
me.
relief.
They watched the guys at the award ceremony watched these things and then they went, "Can we? I just want to see the animators," and they were never seen again. That was-
Several of the animations are done for
I
and
wanna-
with children participating in the production. And then it's got some stuff about teachers. This was produced in 1992 by Davis Publications Incorporated. 1992 is when this came out, but several of the animations are from earlier than that. Like, they're not all from 92 specifically.
Like, I saw a few from like 1985.
Yes,
Right.
some of them were like 80s.
So they span different eras and even decades as they're doing it. So it was only 45 minutes. Okay, that's a big plus, and it did go by super quickly.
It went
Yeah,
by
it went
really quick. Like I will say, while some of the individual things felt like they were dragging, like, we were like more than halfway through, and it felt like only
Right.
like 5 or 10 minutes had passed.
It felt like it was dragging, but the clips were only about like 5 minutes. So
I think a lot of it is just we're used to watching feature length films that feel like they're dragging. So something that's 40 minutes feeling like it's dragging in comparison is just like, 40 minutes.
yeah,
So
it's something.
we
I
opened.
think if I can chime in with my thoughts,
You can.
I would have rather have watched the Marmaduke.
I'm starting to think I would also rather have watched the Marmaduke.
I do not think I would have wanted to watch the Marmaduke. As much as I wasn't a massive fan of this, it was only 45 minutes and
It was shorter than Marmaduke.
it was shorter than the Marmaduke, and there are at least a couple good ones.
We open with not one of the good ones. The opening credits are over it. It's a song called Whale Songs. and it's not actually a song. It's just whales. It's just whale noise with like the worst looking animation.
That's called a whale song. Whales' noises are called it's called the whale song. Idiot.
But it's
Learn
like
something about whales.
It's like the worst
Don't I'm
they
beginning
could
to
have
think
done.
you did really. I think you're not really taking in any of the lessons we learned about the
Yeah,
environment.
I don't think you're properly appreciating our great Earth that was given to us by the tree girl.
So after whale songs, and I'm gonna just talk about the short ones, like briefly, and then I'll pass it to you guys for the longer segments because it's
lucky us.
I've got all the shorts listed down, so I can.
I've got it pulled up here too. Yeah. So global warming was number 2, which is about. It's two men who are silhouetted, and it like pans over the wilderness, and it's really pretty. And at this point, we thought this was going to be the whole thing, and we were kind of looking forward to it because the bats looked really nice, and like we were like, oh, okay, so this is going to be it. But then it was precisely 1 minute long, and a dude looks over nature and he says, "I'm gonna deforest this." He looks at the camera.
This land is nice. I'm going to develop it. And he has the most comically evil. Like, it was a silhouetted man. There was no way for him to actually grin, but he grinned.
This land is lovely. Mine now.
Right. That's and so that's number 2, global warming.
That meme of it was like Lewis and Clark discovering the Midwest, and it's just like, man. I just think of all the amazing things we can build here, and then it just shows the actual Midwest now, and it's just McDonald's and Exxon. That's what it reminded me of.
So after that, we get to a longer segment. This one is 5 minutes, and it's called "Do You Care About Earth?" Daniel,
right? And when we were watching this,
no, I don't. I don't care about Earth. Thanks
I'm not asking you. I'm asking you to lay out what you thought of "Do You Care About Earth?" Because I
don't know which one was that.
That was the
one. Is that the diary one?
No, that's at the end.
That was the claymation one. I liked the fact that it was claymation because I always have an immense respect for any form of claymation. That's about all. I don't remember. That was a song, wasn't it?
Yes, it was the kids. They were singing, and they were like, "Pollution, it kills the earth."
Right, yeah, that's the one where they said pollution, and you thought they said someone's name.
I thought they said like an oil company's name directly.
Blue something.
Yeah, I thought they said Blue Shine.
Blue Shine, that was it.
This is not an oil company.
Before we came to the realization this was a bunch of shorts, I thought that was like the start of the movie, where it was like the first 2 were just. Truth be told, I thought the whale songs were some really obscure art house production logo. And I was waiting for it to form a name or something, and it never did. And I thought, because this is the first one I saw that had a title, like a proper title, where in credits.
The problem is we treated this collection of horrible shorts like a real movie.
We went into this thinking it was a real movie, and
we went into this thinking it was anything, and it was nothing.
I will say this one was kind of fun in like a late night Adult Swim kind of short thing that they would put in the commercials, like during the commercial break. I feel
like we say this about a lot of the things we watch, but it felt like a fever dream.
This one was not on fever dream level. We're gonna get to fever dream.
A couple of them were. The Loon one kind of was.
The fog one was.
Yes, and we'll get there when we get there. But Do You Care About Earth?
I just meant the whole thing.
The thing that was fun about Do You Care About Earth was just how shocking like the visuals were. Because I think visually it was kind of interesting. Like they'd show some fish swimming it starts with a sunflower. It showed
animals dying.
Well, there was a sunflower,
interesting.
And then a car drives by the sunflower, and the exhaust hits the sunflower, and then it just rots to death, and the fish get like radiation poisoning, and it was just kind of interesting how far they took it. Because this is when I started thinking like, is this actually made for kids? And it seems like probably not, because it's the independent short film showcase, and I don't think many kids are going to that.
Well, you say that, but also the message is too. I think the message is too like dumb for adults.
I mean, I guess.
I think
interesting.
you are overestimating how not dumb adults
Also,
are.
yeah, keep in mind, Josh, this is 85. Like this push to be more environmentally aware was new at the time. Like you're
guess.
looking at it from a modern perspective where we hear it all the time. This would
Where
have
I am
been
currently sitting in my room and it is like 30 degrees at night, and England is suffering. I'm dying.
Cope.
Yeah, you used Celsius, so nobody's gonna know what you're talking about. So after Do You Care About Earth, which was a 5-minute little short, we jump to
Then we get into the real stuff.
Bob the Frog in Burp, which is 2.5 minutes. Bobbin, would you like to describe Bob the Frog in
Straight
Burp?
up, no.
All right, I'll take that one. Actually, I remember that one. Only because of the frog's weird teeth.
Dan, take
Bobbin?
Bob the Frog.
Bobbin, if you don't take Bob the Frog, you got to talk about How the Loon. So I would be very careful.
Wait, hold on.
The way it's going, am I talking about How the Loon?
Yes, unless
Which one is whatever you just said?
that's the one about the
Loon is
moon.
the bad one. The bad one.
It's the one about the
There's
moon.
a
Where
lot of bad ones.
it's the one about the moon and the ring and the duck.
No, the ones I remember clearly are the diary
Okay,
one.
I'll talk about Bob. So Bob was a
Okay.
frog. He was a weird
Alright.
mutated frog. I think that was the point, but I'm not sure. He was like a
There's,
weird.
there's no like clear cut plot with most of these, and it's terribly
Right.
frustrating.
Yeah, it's weird. Most of them are both horribly on the nose, but also do such a bad job of like
Yeah.
getting their point across. It's such a weird mix. But anyways, Bob the Frog, he's a frog. I think this one was CG animated, like early CG animated.
Yeah,
It
you're
was
right.
Real
Yeah,
wonky
yeah,
looking.
Because it
Bob-
looks like Lawnmower Man, like straight
Right.
up like Lawnmower
Bob was kind of thick. He was kind of thick for a frog.
Man.
Then it shows like a little dragonfly or something flying by him, and then he just turns and instead of doing the frog, what you would expect a frog to do to eat a bug, where it sticks out its tongue and goes ribbit, and then catches the frog, it instead just opened its demonic venom-looking mouth and had a big row of spiky teeth, and it eated the bug. I think the point was he was in this weird radiated swamp, and
Because he started glowing after he did it.
that made his teeth. Well, I think that was it a dragonfly or was it like a lightning bug?
Yeah, like a firefly.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was thinking. Because
Anyway, there was a point to this. I don't know what it was.
This
I
one,
wasn't sure if he was
interestingly
meant to
enough,
be like radiated, or if that's just the animation.
I don't know. Point is, he had spiky teeth, and that was freaky.
interestingly enough, this one was featured on MTV's Liquid Television, which was a very popular series in the late 80s, early 90s. Of like shorts like this, kind of, but interesting. This was a short one. So they're intercut. It's like short one, long one, short one, long one. The next short one, which Bobbin says he doesn't remember, so we're going to make Josh talk about it, and then we'll go back to Bobbin, is How the Loon, which is... Josh, you just take away How the Loon. This one was 10 minutes. I think it was the longest one.
This is. It felt like the longest one.
Yeah, this was the longest one.
Yes.
So this was the longest one at 10 minutes.
I'm trying to remember it, because a lot of it's got a very wavy animation style to it, which doesn't help because a lot of the time I can't tell what I'm looking at.
Mhm.
I think at first we thought it was the story of the moon and the tides, and like
Right.
how that came to be, and it was meant to be teaching kids.
At first, because I wasn't paying attention for the first like minute and a half at least. And at first, I thought it was someone telling the same story that Wolverine's girlfriend in X-Men
Right.
Origins Wolverine told about like the moon falling in love with a man or something.
Oh,
That's what I
yeah,
thought.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think okay.
Right.
But that's not what it was.
It's not. No, it was about
I
how...
would rather watch X-Men Origins Wolverine than Greentoons environmentally aware animation.
Yeah, that I completely agree. Man.
Man, low bar.
Right.
So
But yeah, so it's not about that. It's about a loon, which is some form of duck, and how it got a very specific trait of its appearance, I think.
It's just it's like a dot on it, or like just a mark.
It's a wrap around its neck. It's like a white necklace.
Right. That's what it is. And it's about.
Oh no, I did. I had this book as a kid. I just got the point of it when you said, like, I didn't realize that the point was like the ring around its neck, but I actually had this book. Oh my god.
So this was based on a book.
Yes, this was based on a book.
And I was looking for the book now, but I can't seem to find how the Loon. There's a book called How the Loon Lost Her Voice, but I don't think that's this one. But maybe it is.
Maybe it was a series.
Maybe. Josh, keep going with the plot.
I'm really trying to hold on to the plot here, man. I lost it a while back.
Okay, so the moon comes down, similar to in Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, it came down to make a fool out of someone. No, it came down to be with not the sun, but
it was water. It was with water, because that's why we thought it was about the tides.
Yeah, it came down to be water who made a ring around his neck.
Think that this was about the same story as Avatar: The Last Airbenders thing with the moon, which was something like this. But anyways, yeah, the water gives the moon a ring, but it's like a necklace ring. And then
it gives it
evil mankind. Mankind is evil.
Right, and mankind wants to take the ring away because they want it for themselves. Mankind is selfish, is what it's getting at.
Right. Because I can't wait to develop this land.
It's one like a side-scrolly animation, I think, right?
Yeah.
This was the one with it was all black with like the bright colors on it.
Oh no, okay. I was thinking of a different one.
This was the one. It looked like that one music video. I don't know by who or what the song is, but there's a music video that looks exactly like this.
The music video.
If any of our two listeners know what I'm talking about, let me know what that is.
I think it's ELO. But I don't know.
What?
Electric
What's
Light Orchestra.
Yellow? What are you talking about?
I think the music video. I think it's an Electric Light Orchestra video.
Oh, I thought you said Yellow, like the Coldplay song.
No, ELO.
Right.
Like how Josh says hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello there.
So, this one, even though it's the longest one, and it was probably the most coherent, because it had a narration. But
this one has a plot. Most of them don't.
Right.
There's a plot to this one, and we've been waiting on you to tell us the plot for so long.
It's so hard to remember the plot. So yeah, the
evil mankind. He has fire underwater. I don't know how, but he has fire underwater. SpongeBob style.
He has fire underwater, and he wants to take the ring from the water, even though the water wanted to give it to the Loon because it loved the Loon.
No. It wanted to give it to the moon. It gave it to the moon. The water loves the moon. The
moon loves the water, and the moon wants to give his ring or her ring to the water. No.
I think the water gave the ring to the moon.
But the moon already had the ring when it came down.
Okay, then it wanted to. Anyways, the moon has the ring. Man steals it. Then man is sleeping by fire that's also underwater.
And you were so mad about it. They were in a cave. They say that.
It was. Then how did he dive up from under the water if he never went into the water?
Yes, the cave was underwater. It was a Minecraft underwater cave, but that was closed off from the water.
That's not how that works.
Well, I didn't write How the Loon. Gary W. McKay did.
Well, I hate you, Gary. Anyways, man steals, or no, yeah. What's happening?
I don't know. All I remember is that by the end of it, the water starts speaking, and it's the most bored woman I've ever sound. If this was
that was the moon. That was the moon that was speaking.
Why did the moon look like fire?
Why would the water look like fire?
Because I don't know. Why does any of this happen? I thought it was the sun at first.
And then the man also looked like fire, so I think that was just the animation.
Well, the man also turned into like a monster halfway through.
You're right.
None of this makes sense.
All right. Okay. All right. So The moon comes down. The moon tries to give its necklace to the water. Man steals the necklace from the water, takes it to his underground cave. There's a duck. This duck, it's a loon, and this loon is like, "Hey, I'll help you, moon." And so the loon goes down.
Hey, our names rhyme.
The moon can't go in the water, so the loon goes into the cave, steals the necklace back from the man, escapes the grasps of the man, and gives the necklace back to the moon. The moon then says, "Thank you, dear little duck friend. I'm gonna give you your own necklace." And so it gives it the white stripe around its neck, which is the thing that those birds have in real life. Roll credits. Jeez.
Right.
Man, how
And that was the second short.
and yeah, that was only that's probably the most coherent one, and we couldn't even describe that.
I
That's
could.
the- yeah,
You should have paid better attention.
No, excuse me, I couldn't pay attention to the thing that was giving me an epileptic fit.
So next up is Ozone. I'm going to describe Ozone because it's a fun little short one. In Ozone, there's a man, and he wakes up, and there's some things playing on the radio about how bad aerosol cans are for the ozone layer, and he keeps spraying himself with aerosol cans, and then he gets ready for work, and he walks outside, and the sun burns him to a crisp because there is no more ozone layer. Bobbin, we're coming to you. Are you ready?
Which one are we doing?
It's number 7,
Okay.
Oregon Country.
We're on
Oregon
number
country.
7 already. Did I have a stroke?
Oregon Country.
No,
Bobbin.
don't just
Okay.
rush. Don't just rushed past one of the fun ones because he hates us.
Ozone was fun, but it was short. I mean, it was the fun little Simpsons one. The animation
Yeah,
style
Oh,
was
yeah,
great.
yeah. That was my
That's the
favorite
one.
also.
That's the one where the guy dressed up like Daniel.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it was a minute and a half. It was 1.5 minutes, so I was trying to get to
And-
a
and-
longer
and-
one.
And he the news is trying to tell him you're gonna get skin cancer if you keep using that hairspray, but he doesn't listen to it. And then what happens to him, Dalton? What happens?
He burns to a crisp when he steps outside.
He dies. He
But
dies
he
as soon as
didn't
he
get
steps out of his
didn't
house.
get
That'll
skin
happen.
cancer.
That'll happen to all of you. Every single one of us. One
But
of
at
these
least he-
days.
At least
but
you
you
won't
can
get
walk
skin
outside.
cancer, though.
Bobbin,
Okay.
Oregon
Oregon country.
This is
was
the best one.
this
in my opinion.
easily.
So this one was also like pretty incoherent, but the standout was actually it had an original song. I don't know who what was the name of the guy that we
Jinx
found?
Davis, rest
Jinx
in
Davis.
peace.
He is dead. He
Rest in
passed
peace,
away.
my
He passed away
Uh,
in 2006 at the age of 59.
But it's just a lot of different 2D animated shots of an Oregon country. And just
It was lovely animation though.
no,
It's a
yeah, it was
great
actually pretty
song,
good.
too. The animation
Uh,
was good. The song was great.
Yeah, it was it wasn't insufferable. It had like
Right.
some nice
It
little
wasn't insufferable.
of
It wasn't
trees
insulting. It
and-
was great.
So up to this point, where we're at is we saw several that we didn't enjoy, right? So Do You Care About Earth we kind of liked, but it was still kind of long. Bob the Frog was just a nightmare. How the Loon was horrible. And so then we saw Ozone, and we were like, oh, this is fun, right? That's the one with the man who gets burnt to a crisp and dies. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, so this is like, okay, this is interesting. The animation style is good. Things are looking up. And then Oregon Country comes on, and it's a bop. It's a song that I would listen to unironically. It feels like it belongs
Yeah, we were
in-
feeling good after Oregon Country.
Yeah, we spent so much time trying to find this song like on any sort of
Yeah,
streaming
I-
platform, but it doesn't exist. Unlike the Semi Pro podcast, which is available on all streaming services.
That's the only thing I think actually that we actually experienced.
It
Right.
feels,
everything,
it feels like
everything else was a group hallucination.
the song feels like something that would be on like Fallout Radio and like Fallout 4.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it sounded like a John Denver song.
Right.
Or was
And
that the
so-
other one?
No,
At
that
this
was
point-
Oregon Country.
At this point, we're about halfway through. We decide to pause it and to go and get snacks, whatever. And we come back, and then we get to number 8. Only the Cat Saw It, which is a one of the shorter ones, but it feels longer.
This one Dalton didn't like because he hates watercolor. It was perfectly fine though. What the cat saw was,
It
or
was
only
one
the
of
cat
the
saw it.
one of the more
It was-
interesting ones.
Yeah,
Would you
it
like
was,
to?
it was quirky and interesting, I guess.
Ooh, we're missing one that's not on the thing that we watched. I think
Oh, I've probably got it, I think.
maybe. All right, only the cat saw it. Who wants to describe only the cat saw it?
No, oh yeah, there's a vape.
No, that's not the one that I was talking about.
Anyways, only the cat saw it. I'll talk about that one because I liked this one.
Okay.
It's a cat. It's a watercolor. It's like a guy going down like a river with his cat on like a paddleboard or something, and it's got some nice watercolor shots of the environment and stuff. And the cat's looking at the water. It's batting at it all playfully, and a little mouse goes by, and he's like, "Oh, a mouse!" And then another little mouse goes by, and then a ever so slightly bigger mouse goes by, and then you see this scary, ominous shadow in the water, and the cat backs away, frightened, and then a giant, comically large rat comes out of the water with big spiky teeth and glowing red eyes, and it rocks the boat because it made such a big wave when it came out of the water, and then it just goes away, and then there's what looked like poop in the water, but I'm guessing was supposed to be oil.
It was meant to be oil.
Even though I don't think oil would, even though like obviously yes, oil has lots of horrible environmental repercussions. I don't think mutating rats is one of them. I think
wonder
that's
if it
more
was
of like
supposed to be
like a
toxic,
chemical.
Like I wonder if it was
toxic
supposed to be
spill thing.
toxic sludge because it was coming out of a pipe.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it was like the sewer pipe. So maybe it was supposed to be like toxic sludge.
All right, now what we've got next after only the cat saw
It's a
it
failure to communicate.
is all that power goes up in smoke. And I don't remember this one.
I have no. I think I'm convinced you just made that up.
I if I had to guess, because this happened a few times, whatever the transfer was, like whatever tape this got transferred from, was probably missing it.
But it's
'Cause it-
45. But no, that doesn't make sense because the tape, what we watched was 45 minutes, and everything I've read about this says it's 45 minutes. All that power goes up in smoke.
Was that the vape one then? Maybe
I don't.
Yeah, that must have been the vape one.
But
because that
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
have the title.
But
That
but
didn't
what
have
about?
it,
Hold on. What about a safer job? Okay, so I guess there were two really short ones right next to each. Okay, it's 30 seconds each.
It
There's
was,
two.
it was the vape one and then the one afterwards that didn't look connected, but we just assumed it was because it.
Well, they did. So they're made by the same person. So they're the same style. So one of them, a dude picks up a car and vapes it. and
that
he's
one.
just
That one I
talking about-
liked. That one reminded me a lot of 12-Ounce Mouse, the Adult Swim show. I liked that one.
And it's just like that's it. He's just talking about how cool vaping cars is.
Right. Well, they talked about it like it was like oh yeah, these cars let off so many like bad
Fumes.
things into the environment, and it was like talking about the way like normal people would talk about cars, and then it's just a quick little so many people smoke them, and that was the joke, I guess. That
I guess the joke is like we're breathing in exhaust every day.
I think it was meant to be like, oh, you'd care more about environmental problems if you were directly smoking them, but clearly that's not true because people smoke.
I was going to say, if people could, people would smoke the fumes coming out.
Oh yeah, they do actually, and then they just die from it.
Right.
Carbon monoxide poisoning.
That's a really odd one. I didn't really get that. I also literally don't remember anything about the one after.
Well, the one after is some dudes on a job site. It's like supposed to be like a job protection whatever, and it's some dudes and they're like, you know, oh, your eyes were made for seeing when there is danger. And then he walks up to like toxic sludge, and then he inhales the toxic sludge, and then he tells somebody else about it. That's that one. They're both 30 seconds
even
apiece.
describing that, I have no memory of that.
Yeah, I have.
It was the dude in the hard hat.
The only memory I have is
Yeah.
it was a guy in a hard hat and three other people around him, and none of them had facial features.
All right, Josh, you're up. Describe Lady Tree.
Why do I have to get out the Loon and Lady Tree, man?
Because we hate you.
So
You okay? You may have gotten the two worst ones, but you got the two easiest to describe.
I
That is
do not
true.
think that's true
At
whatsoever.
least Lady Tree.
Lady Tree is relatively easy to describe, I guess. It's
That
about
one's just
how
gentrification.
right. That one's just about how this man slug worms his way through all of these environmental places, and he takes the trees and rips them out of the ground and replaces them with buildings that are full of pollution and keep pumping pollution into the air, until one day a woman decides to fight back. So she claws off all of her skin and transforms herself into a tree, and then goes to fight him, and he pricks her finger.
And you can do that too. Just claw your skin off, rip it off.
There was a tree underneath you. Get it out. um, this one had a really odd ending. Out of all of them, this is the most abstract.
This was the most ominous ending.
This
This was, I think, the most effective at what it was trying to do.
Right. It ends with I can't remember how exactly, but the slug monster man like pricks her finger.
What she does is Lady Groot grabs Slug City Man and she jerks him off. She pulls all the buildings off him.
She does what?
she tugs him off.
Yeah.
Off of him.
This is actually, it's a reference to how the environment and oil companies are in this together.
Correct. But she pulls all the buildings off.
What's that one?
Tries to add him to herself, and then he
forgot
throws a building on her finger.
What's that one cartoon character that Ted Cruz always gets compared to? The Globacab Glibshkalom?
Oh yeah, the Zodiac Killer.
my favorite cartoon character.
You forgot the opening of this, which the opening of this is the sun. I'm assuming it's supposed to be Mother Nature and a cloud with a mustache standing there, and then the cloud like pulls up his sides and starts raining, but it just looks like he's urinating on the ground.
True, I did forget that, and I wish I did forget that.
I think I
repressed that memory. And you just brought it back.
I think I now that you've reminded me of it, I think now looking back on it, it reminded me of bad memories, and so I didn't want to relive that.
Yeah. So
then the tree woman just sits there with a building on her thumb, and she can't really do anything about it. And it pans out and disappears and ends, and then that's it. It's done for.
Right.
Correct.
Fade to black.
Gunshot, fade to black.
Correct. All right, Bobbin, are you still with us? But I mean alive. Okay. Odad 2. Odad 2 is the Dear Diary.
Okay, I can do this one. I can do this
Jaden Smith one. Oh,
this is the worst one of all of them. All right, everybody, silence until Bobbin finishes breaking down the plot.
All right. So, you have our leading lady, the girl, teenage girl, and she is trying to convince her dad, her ruggedy old, rude conservative dad, that global warming is a real thing, and to care for the environment, and she kind of goes in depth on the specific things and talking about billionaires and planes and how she's never going to drive a normal car because it's bad for the environment. And there's not really like a big point. It's just that don't believe global warming, and also don't drive cars.
Okay, I will say,
bad.
great. First of all, round of applause for Bobbin. Great job.
Bravo.
I will say though, I do think you missed the point of the video.
No, I didn't.
Because her dad was a scientist.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The father was a
I
scientist.
completely forgot about that.
I absolutely forgot that was the part.
And the point of this was her talking to other scientists, essentially trying to say like, hey,
her dad had made like some invention that would have been good for the environment, but then instead they didn't use it. It was too expensive, but he still got money for it, and he was like, hey, money's good enough, now I can support my family.
Right. So he gave up,
and in his daughter's eyes he's a horrible person because he wanted to support his family.
He gave up because they didn't like his invention or whatever, so he gives up. And then that's kind of the whole point, is about like hey, don't give up, we can still save the environment, yada yada yada. So it's like
it was the Jaden Smith one.
It was Jaden. Yeah, it was Jaden Smith, and he was.
Can we just talk about the political and economic state of the world right now?
That was a really good Jaden Smith impression.
Surprisingly
great. Oh my god.
I will say, I think out of all of them, I probably like this message the most.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it just the animation of it,
The
and
animation's not great.
how pretentiously it was presented really took me out of it.
Yeah,
I will
no,
say,
I'll give it that.
interestingly enough, this was animated using sand.
Oh, what?
So
Oh,
this
that's kinda
was
cool.
this was
Huh.
all sand on a
I guess
black.
that explains the weird hands grabbing and touching it thing,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
which to me was just a weird visual.
I
You guys
thought that was
said
just like
reminded you of David Lynch, but I don't get it
I
'cause I'm
thought
not
that was kind
pretentious.
of meant to be breaking the fourth wall kind of thing.
no, it was
Right, yeah.
sand. So
That's neat.
You
I
know?
like with the claymation one, I can at least respect the
The
art
idea,
behind it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
think
it's
a lot. Well,
like
I think a lot of these are
even if
creative.
I didn't like the way it looked, which I didn't with the sand one. I did with the claymation one. Even if I didn't like the way it looked, I can at least I can respect how much friggin' time went into making that.
Yeah.
Right. I respect a lot of the creativity behind a lot of these
Yeah,
because they are creative.
craftsmanship.
All right, and boys, believe it or not, we're coming close to the end. Next up on our list is one I will talk about because it's one of the short ones. Number 13, food additives, which is a detective and a cop. It's like a whodunit mystery, but all he's doing is describing all of the things environmentally that could have killed him, like food additives and whatnot. Like all of these things could have been the death of this individual.
That one was fun because that felt like it could be like a political cartoon that was like made like yesterday.
Yes, and it also kind of feels like it would be. That one feels like it could be a full 30-minute children's special on the environment.
Yeah.
Like them trying to get to the bottom of what environmental food additive killed this man.
Right.
So that was fun, but it was only a minute. I wish it was longer. I wish that was one of the longer ones. I liked the voice cast did a really good job there. The animation style was really fun. But no, that one ends after a minute, and then we get 2.5 minutes of what I will let Josh describe, which is water.
I truth be told, don't know much about this one. I just remember it being a
This
song.
was the song, then it had the kids singing. This one was
Right.
also claymation, I think.
This
It
one was
was.
done by the same people who did the one at the beginning.
Right. Well, this was it was claymation. It was a song guy was singing just about like I'll make sure you have clean water. I'll try and make sure that you have a clean earth to be around on. And every now and again, it would interject with these kids having a little sing along with them. But the guy singing it was pretty talented. He knew what he was doing. He was doing it well.
Had a nice funky beat to it.
This is another one where I really appreciate the creativity and effort that went into it because writing a song about this stuff isn't easy, and they do it in a pretty in a way that
No,
like,
it is.
as a group of as a group of four of us, I think we enjoyed the songs in this for the most part.
This
a
was
lot.
my least favorite of the songs.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest.
Even this one, I saw you vibing to it a little bit.
Yeah,
you were snapping your fingers.
You started off hating it, and then the guy started singing, and you
Yeah.
went,
They
they
were all of the songs were pretty good. This was no Oregon Country though.
Right. No, nothing ever will be though.
I don't think I'll ever hear another song again and not think this is worse than Oregon Country.
True.
and then the whole message of this one is just make sure you have clean water. We'll do our best for that. And
Clean water, good.
Clean water, good. Maybe don't drink water that has a load of oil and piss and dirt in it.
Those were all.
But that's where the flavor comes from.
Which I mean, it's kind of sure it's a good message, but I feel if you are drinking that water, it's usually because you can't drink the clean stuff.
How am I supposed to enjoy my food without the microplastics in them?
all the kids, the poverty-ridden kids in Africa, listen to the song going,
Oh, that's what we should be doing. Oh, we shouldn't be drinking the brown shit water, which is the only one that's available to us.
I don't think that was the
us.
point of the song. I think the point of the song
No, I
was
think it
more like
was.
we should do our best to preserve the
It's
water because we
bloody-
need to drink it.
No, I think it was
it's
directly
the one of the
directed at the people that were drinking the water.
Because the opening little thing talks about how water never really like goes away because the same water is always around. It's either ice, it's either gas, or it's
Water
or it's
is
liquid.
wet.
And so it's like whatever we do to water is permanent. So we need to quit doing these horrible things to water.
We need to quit doing water.
Right. We need to do less water. So that was it. And then we reprised the whale song again, which I hate. It's like the ending to After Earth and they talk about Moby Dick 3 times. And that's it. That is environmentally aware, Greentoons environmentally aware animation. It's over.
It's over. We can go home now.
We can leave.
Nice.
It's over. We can watch Marmaduke now.
Yeah, and okay, and then we gotta really quickly talk about Maya's Time Travelers.
No,
do we gotta though?
Before we talk about Maya's Time Travelers, I just want to say at the end of this movie, it says, "Here are the addresses. Here are the addresses of all the oil tycoons in the US," and then it doxes every single one of them.
It doesn't,
Right.
but that's what we thought it was doing. But
It
turns out-
doesn't. It says here are the addresses of some places that you can go to.
That
if you
was
wanna-
another thing. Like before each, I don't know if it was all of them or just like the long ones, but it would say, like, it'd have like a funny little frog looking character, and it would say, "Hey, here's a good charity or good environmental organization that you could support," and that was nice.
yeah, and then it gives the addresses of all of them at the end.
Right. And here are all the people that oppose our message.
And so then we watched Maya's Time because I
Well,
paused it.
we say we watched about a minute and a half of Maya's Time Travelers.
I paused it, and I guess I kind of panicked a little bit because I really thought there wouldn't be anything to talk about in this, and we did fine. Like, we talked about it fine, but I was really nervous there would be nothing to talk about with this movie, and so I was like, well, let's spend one more
I think
time.
you forget, Dalton. I think you forget how great we are at talking about nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
We've just talked about 45 minutes worth of movies, of short films.
Of nothing.
that
Of literally
boil down to-
nothing.
Every single one of them boils down to, hey, maybe look after the
Hey,
environment.
the environment is good.
So we watched Maya's Time Travelers. We randomly spun and landed on it, which I would say was the movie I was most excited for on the panel.
Man, that is a sad truth.
Isn't it? Like that's the one that I was like, this will definitely be the most
Like, yeah,
interesting.
that one, really?
Because here's what I thought it was about. I thought it was some like crack house documentary on how some conspiracy theory dude thought that the Mayans were time travelers. That's what I thought we were getting.
I wish.
I think me, Daniel, and Bobbin all knew that was not what the movie was going to be.
Right.
Josh, don't pretend that you weren't excited for Maya's Time Travelers. I don't want you to sit here and pretend that you weren't.
I was
Yeah,
excited
you
for
were.
it on the basis of we were not gonna watch any more of Greentoons environmentally
I was
aware
excited-
animation.
I was excited for it on the basis of it was 20 minutes.
You were excited
You're
for it when it
right.
was added to the list. Don't sit here and pretend like you weren't.
I just want to say both of the options that we watched today were Dalton's picks for what goes on the list.
It's true. That did happen.
And so I consider that any and all blame be placed entirely on him.
Yes.
I agree. And also, this whole operation was his idea.
You started this company.
Whose idea was the podcast as a whole?
You.
Um,
The
You.
original podcast, was that my idea back in the day?
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that was Kane, actually. So
It probably was. yeah.
I guess we can blame him for all this.
But
Beautiful.
But also-
if you're
but also,
listening,
you're the one who
Kane,
brought it into our
this
lives,
is
so
your
again-
fault.
You did this to us.
I do want to say that you were the one who brought him into our lives, therefore I'm going to blame you.
Okay.
True.
So
Because
Maya's
I
Time
hate
Travelers. It opens with some Spanish speaking, and it's kind of interesting, and there's some neat like CG stuff.
Oh yeah, the neat CG space
Yeah.
and then a Mayan statue flying at the screen. Yeah, whoa, neat.
Don't
And
forget
then, Dan, you're forgetting the stairway.
Yeah, I was about to
Oh,
say.
you're right. Yeah, they did have the stairway that looked like another Lawnmower Man reference.
And
This
so we
was I
start.
want to watch Lawnmower Man. I want to see all of you watch Lawnmower Man.
We start watching it, and then it like. It just keeps cutting to scenes over music of
It's a lot of landscape like shots of beautiful jungle and rivers and stuff.
and there's no talking, like it's
There's
all
no
music.
talking, no.
It's only 17 minutes, so we just start kind of skipping ahead. Indiana Jones shows up at one point, which was weird.
Indiana
then-
Jones and the Multiverse of Madness, I think.
and then we get to the end of it, and turns out the whole thing was just an ad for some like airline that can take you
It
to
was-
the Mayans.
It was an ad for Army Hammer's timeshare.
So the time travelers was, I guess, you get to go back in time and see all of the
Well,
Mayan
at first we
statues.
thought it was that the time traveling thing was like a reference to talking about Mayan history.
Yeah.
And then, but no, it turns out it's just, yeah, I guess it is travel. It's like when an airline says travel back in time to whatever. It just means live out in the jungle and don't have any hygiene.
Right. And so
Fair.
that was a huge disappointment. All right, so here's what I'm going to propose to you guys. Right now, you have to pick between the two movies we watched. Which one is going to play on loop in your brain at all moments for the rest of your days? And it's always there. Like you're having a conversation, it's there, right? Like it's like a it's
I'll go with Greentoons. Like it's not great, and there's a lot of it that I don't like. But I'll mute my mind until Oregon comes back again, and then tune in for that for a few minutes and just kind of.
Yeah, I feel
disassociate.
like Greentoons is gonna just do this anyway. Like it's just gonna live in my brain for the rest of my days, regardless of what I want.
I'm gonna go to sleep after this, and I'm gonna wake up sweating in the middle of the night, like because the image of that one Joker mirror thing that was talking about the Loon it's gonna live in my brain. It's gonna worm its way into my head.
All right, Bobbin, your pick for which one is gonna play on loop in your brain forever. Keep in mind, forever.
Okay, I guess Greentoons because it has more variety, like with the Mayan thing, like it's the same thing over and over. And it's the same both. But with the Greentoons animation, you get different cartoons, I guess. So
Very reluctantly, it seems you choose Greentoons animation.
yes.
As Daniel is not here, I'm gonna say for him, I believe that he would have chose Maya's Time Travelers.
I'm gonna say he also would have, and he would have given some snarky reason like, well, it's background noise and nothing really happens and nobody speaks.
See, I think he would have chosen Greentoons, but as he's not here, I'm going to speak for him.
See, I think he would have chosen Maya's Time Travelers for that, though I will say he probably did enjoy Greentoons more.
So what one are you doing?
I'm thinking, because I do like the reason Daniel gave for picking Maya's Time Travelers for being nothing that would just kind of play in your brain. If I had to pick a favorite out of the two, it's definitely Greentoons.
I guess.
Okay, I will say this. Greentoons was miserable. Okay, I hated it. However,
You can't.
This is an important decision, Dalton.
You can't defend it, Dalton. You know you can't defend it.
No, I can, because I do really, really respect what this was. Had I been...
you can't defect Maya's.
Maya's like, yeah, it was cheap advertisement, whatever, and it wasn't what it expected to be. But it was at least just nothing, you know? Like, it was nothing. And for that, I guess, and it was only 17 minutes. I pick Maya's to play in my brain. I pick Greentoons as my favorite of the two.
Well, that just doesn't make sense.
Why would you? Maya's doesn't have anything to it, Dalton. Why?
Exactly. So it's not going to distract me from my day-to-day life. It'll just be on repeat in my brain.
Neither will Green. Are you telling me Greentoons would distract you from your day-to-day life?
Yes. When How the Loon pops on in my brain, I'm going to have to curl up into a ball on the floor trying to figure out how to carry on in casual. It's doing it now. It's doing it right this very second. Right this very second in my brain, I see the moon stepping out of heaven to give the water its necklace.
You disgust me. You disgust me.
You're either picking a terrible end or a terrible end. So, I mean, either answer is respectable.
My answer is I choose one of these movies and then just tie a noose, I think.
All right.
Because if my life has gotten to the point where I have to watch Greentoons or Maya's Time Travel every single day, My life has hit its rock bottom. There's nowhere else it can go.
I will say about Greentoons, like, I can't say I'd recommend you watch it because
You can't. First off, you can't. It's not available.
it is. I mean, we watched it free on the internet. It's just
I'm not
streaming
convinced that we
publicly.
did.
I will say this about Greentoons. There is some interesting visual stuff. The short films are good. Like, they're well made. Most of them are good. I think the reason we didn't like a lot of it was because they were being played back to back to back to back to back. I think
Right.
like there's a reason they won all these festival awards. That happened on purpose. And I think we're giving it an unfair comparison to look at it and say like, oh, for this reason it was bad. I do think there's some creative stuff. There's some original stuff. I would not recommend anybody just goes out of their way to watch this, mainly because the message of this video has been hammered home so much in
We
your
also experiencing that message currently.
right. It's been hammered home so much in your life that you know it. Like, you know about the ozone layer, you know about all of the things. It's not going to teach you anything new, but it's neat and it's fun, and it's this little time capsule of history that is just what that time period of the Earth was like. And so I kind of like it. I love Greentoons environmentally aware animation.
I appreciate your sentiment, Dalton. I think it's very sweet, but there is no way in a million years that I could ever agree with that.
It's my favorite thing that I have ever seen.
All right, man. All right. That's
It
fine.
is
All right.
marginally better than Marmaduke. I'll say that.
I will say it's probably better than Marmaduke would have been. We would be sitting here right now talking about Marmaduke wishing we were dead. Instead, we're sitting here talking about Greentoons environmentally aware animation wishing we were dead.
Yeah.
One of them at least stood for something, you know?
All right. Do we have any closing thoughts?
I gave mine. I think that this accomplished what it wanted to accomplish, and I think it did that well. Did I enjoy it? Not necessarily. Would I ever watch it again? Definitely not. But it was good regardless.
It was not the worst thing I've ever seen.
It was one of the films of all time.
This is certainly one of the movies of all time.
All right,
Yeah.
are we done? Was that it?
Please.
I think we're done. Can we be done? What are we watching next week?
Wallace and Gromit, maybe? I don't know that we've officially
Wallace and
decided.
Gromit. Woo!
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Semi Pro. As always, if you're listening on...
Excuse me. You always close us out, so I'm going to do it because I want to.
Okay.
Check this out. Thank you very much for listening to Semi Pro Podcast. Tune in next week for Wallace and Gromit. Thank you for listening, and goodbye. How's that?